Hello, welcome. Today's screencast is about how to set up your Google document for MLA format. This is Mrs. Bangman. I'm going to walk you through the steps. It's pretty basic, and most of you know how to do most of this, but it's good to refresh and make sure you hit all of the steps. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to be in a Google document, and you can open that either in your Google Drive or if it is set up for you through the Google Classroom, an assignment, you would create a document there. The first thing that you want to do is you want to make sure that your margins are set to 1 inches all the way around. The best way to do that is to click on File and go to Page Setup, and you can double check, and you'll see here that each margin is set to 1 inch. That is the default, so if yours isn't that way, you can easily change that by highlighting and typing in the inch that you need. The next thing that you want to do is format your font. Now, traditionally, MLA format is in Times New Roman, which is not the default in Google Documents. You'll see your documents usually open in Arial. I am going to ask you to use Calibri font, but if you want to use Times New Roman, you may scroll down and find that. The other part of font is that all MLA documents should be in 12 point. Okay? Your entire document will be in the same font in the same size. It will never change. The next step that you want to do is you want to set up your heading. Your heading will be in the upper left corner. Your cursor is already set to the left margin. Before we begin that, we want to set up this line spacing. Your entire document should be double spaced. So you're going to click on the line spacing button here, and you'll see that mine is default to 1.15, but we want to choose double space. It's best to do that at the beginning so that your whole document is formatted correctly from the very beginning. Okay, so now to the heading. In MLA format, the heading is very specific. It begins with the student name. Now, I am using a pretend student name. You want to make sure that you capitalize your first and your last name correctly. Click Enter, and then you type the teacher's name. Again, you want to make sure that you capitalize, punctuate, and spell correctly. The third line of your heading is your class. Some teachers or professors, when you get to college, will ask you to include maybe a section or the time that you meet. In this case, I am going to ask you to include the period that you're in. And for a sample, I'm just going to put period 1. The last line of the heading is the date, and in MLA format, it is very specific that you put the due date, and it is required that it is written in a specific way. I'm going to use the due date for my first period Romeo and Juliet essay, which is January 17th. So I would type 17, the day first, followed by the month capitalized and spelled out, followed by the year. And that is your heading. After that, click Enter, and you can set your title. For the title, we want to go to the margin buttons, and you're going to click Center. There's no need to press the space bar or the tab button. You just center align your margin. You might be tempted to use bold or a color or make it big or a pretty font. Please don't do that. In MLA format, it is very specific that everything remain in the same font in the same size. So for this, I'm going to use our Romeo and Juliet final essay title. And you'll notice that I have capitalized the first letter of all the main words. It is not underlined or in bold or anything else, just simple and basic. Click Enter. You are still center aligned, and in order to begin typing, you will want to make sure that you go back up here to the margin buttons and left align. Now, before we begin typing, I want to point out that there is one more format that you need to include, and that is a header. This is your heading. You need a header. In order to format the header, you're going to go to the menu bar at the top and click on Insert. Scroll down to Header. Click. Now, automatically it's formatted on the left side, but for MLA format, you're going to right align your header. Your header is your last name. Before you begin typing, notice the default font returns to Arial. We want all of the font to be the same style and the same size for your entire document. So we're going to choose Calibri and 12 one more time. And then I am going to type my last name. After my name, my last name, correctly capitalized, I need to include the page number. Don't simply type the page number. That will not correctly format the page numbers on your following pages. What you need to do is go back to the Insert button and choose page number. You will see that there are several options for where your number will be placed. And we want the very first option in the upper right corner next to our name. Now, on every single page of your essay, your last name and the correct corresponding page number will appear in your header. The next step is to begin typing. And finally, the last thing that you need to know in formatting your paper is that you always must indent. And the best way to do that, the correct way, is to click on the Tab button. And here you will begin to type your first sentence. Okay, and that is all for today. Next step will be how to begin your intro paragraph.